Anonymous men and women of Reddit, you may hate me after this video, you may love me, but there's one thing you will do, which is respect me. Because I'm going to give you some of the most sound fashion advice that anyone has ever given on YouTube. I've seen your questions, I've witnessed your folly, but the good news is that there's hope for you. Well, maybe not all of you. Dressing well can seem like a very confusing set of choices. One day, certain trends are in, and all of a sudden, they're out. But the truth is, dressing well is very simple. Now, I scrolled for hours and hours and hours on multiple fashion-focused subreddits, and I was able to identify 3 prevalent problems that you've probably either faced and or are facing right now with your style. And what's funny, I've been through a lot of these same issues and I've documented my process over the course of my channel, and I'm gonna give you the tools you need to take your outfits from okay to good to great to always being great. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What to do? It's nice to meet you. Let me give a shout out to Carolyn Winkler for being the inspiration behind the idea for this video. And as a quick disclaimer, in no way is this video intended to put anyone's style or creativity with how they dress down. This video is meant to present ideas that either you can take or not. Essentially, take what you think is of value and leave what you don't. The 4 Reddit pages that I included most of the source material for this video included r/men's fashion, r/men's fashion advice, r/female fashion advice, and r/outfits. If you're a part of any of these communities, hi, how's it going? I'm Drew Joyner. Drew, what it do? It's nice to meet you. Let's break down the 3 problems that I saw the most. Problem number 1, there were a lot of posts talking about whether or not a pair of pants or a jacket or a shirt fit well. It seems like one of the biggest problems that a lot of people are having is whether or not you know if an item of clothing actually fits you properly. This is something that, like I said, I struggled with mightily. Like, holy did I struggle with. And the more you kind of understand the fashion world, the more you realize that this is a problem that's not just a me and you problem, it's an everyone problem. All of us struggle because body types and standardized sizing isn't built for most of us, honestly. Problem number 2 is that there were a lot of questions asking about what should I wear in situations where you have to make a good first impression. This can be like dates or meeting with office buddies or, you know, meeting your partner's parents, things like that where you want to put your best foot forward, but you just don't know what exactly looks best to put your best foot forward. What we wear tends to leave a strong initial impression in whatever situation that we're a part of, but there are a few ways to always leave the right impression. And problem number 3, there were so many questions that I realized that were focused on confidence and self-esteem, especially as it pertains to how we use clothing to display our confidence or self-esteem. How you carry yourself matters, and if you don't feel confident in what you wear, I have some ideas for you. One of the honorable mention questions was about tucking your shirt. And I think a lot of people, especially guys, have this idea in their head that if you tuck your shirt, it looks more formal. And my general rule about tucking in your shirt is that just don't do it unless you have the right pair of pants or if you have all of the basics nailed when it comes to dressing. So do you understand the sizing? Do you understand the fit? Do you have a high-rise pair of pants? Do you have things that incorporate color and fit your body type properly? If you don't understand these things, I would not tuck in your shirt as, you know, as you can see with the shirt I'm wearing right now, like I'm not tucking this in. I'm actually not wearing any pants. But it doesn't matter because at the same time, like tucking in your shirt is something that should come as an afterthought to the principles to actually understanding how to dress well. Typically when you tuck in your shirt, it takes away the shape of your outfit and you don't want that. It's pretty awkward in most cases unless you understand a lot of these things. So my general tip is don't tuck your shirt in unless you have something like a jacket or a top that covers a portion of the waistline. Or if you have a high-waisted pair of pants and you tuck in your shirt and the shirt actually fits you properly, then that will look good. But you have to experiment, play, and I think for right now, I want you to take a step back before we talk about tucking in shirts. So what makes an outfit good? Let's take a step back and look at some strong examples from each subreddit of good fashion. In r/men's fashion, one of the posts that caught my eye was this one. The caption reads, "It took me years to fully find my style. I'm 46 and I work at a university library." Shout out to you. When I scrolled through these fits, I thought that they were good, especially number 2 and number 10. Those were the two outfits that stood out to me the most. And you might think it would make the most sense to just take the pieces that this person was wearing and just copy and paste, Control C, Control V onto your body for your outfits. But there are hidden principles that underlie why these outfits look so good. For example, outfit 2. If we look at outfit 2, the first thing that makes this look as stylish as it does is because of the layers that are a part of the outfit. Each layer fits in proportion to the thickness of the layer underneath it. Oftentimes when we think about layering in fashion, we're talking about intelligently making sure that each layer, top layer, mid layer, base layer, fits comfortably on the body of the wearer and coincides with the colors, patterns, and overall makeup of the outfit. Layering in fashion isn't just about wearing one item on top of another. That's not how layering is done. So the first reason why this outfit really works is because this individual really understands how to layer something beautifully, to add texture and intrigue to the chest area, to his neckline, where that collar sits. It looks really, really cool because there's so much going on there, more than just wearing one shirt. Or if he just worn the one jacket and zipped it all the way to the top and taken a picture, the outfit wouldn't look as good. So there's the fact that he's layering, but the fact that he's also showing you the layers of his outfit. He's showing you the intentionality that went into wearing what he's wearing. Another element that really makes this work is the colors. Now, most people don't think tan can be paired with tan, but it can. What's interesting is that the colors of the top layer and the mid layer actually drive this really harmonious look, but it creates even more contrast with that flannel base layer. So typically when you see flannels being worn in, most people, they aren't layering flannels as a base layer. The fact that he decided to do that here, I think it creates an extra level of texture and intrigue to the outfit that you typically don't see when someone wears these types of clothing. Flannel patterns are awesome. You can also do this with dots, stripes, knits, and other geometric shapes on clothing. Honestly, the more interesting striping and piping and texture that you can add, the more your outfit will be perceived as more intelligent or more intentional. Let's look at another example from r/female fashion advice. So this person took 11 skirts and made 44 outfits. And something about the second set of outfits for me really stood out. And if you're a guy watching this, don't tune out on me because there's so much you can learn from women's wear if you take the time, pay attention. Often the secret is that, women's wear is actually many stages ahead of men's wear, and men's wear just needs to find a way to catch up. So fellas, listen up. Where I think she nails the composition of each one of these outfits, or kind of just shows the range of how she understands style really well, is in the neckline. The two outfits in the middle both have an open neck, but instead of leaving that part of her chest bare, like what I've done here, is she added a necklace. She added another element, another window of intrigue to her outfit. I guess what I'm trying to say is she added a necklace to fill the space. And filling space in fashion with accessories, trinkets, and layers is one of the most subtle ways that you can improve your style and bring more brevity, bring more care to your outfit. It just takes an extra moment to think, okay, if I'm wearing a shirt like I'm wearing right now, how can I make this feel more interesting? Okay, just put on a necklace. Simple as that. If I were to put on a necklace and then I were to button this shirt up all the way to the top, you wouldn't see the necklace. The fact that it's kind of poking out, the fact that it you see it, but it's not the focus, but you see it. It adds that extra level of intrigue. So at any given moment, if I'm walking, you see kind of all the details that are going on in my outfit. Alright, let's get into some solutions. What you've been waiting for, right? The solution to problem number 1 is know your measurements. Every item of clothing has a corresponding measurement tied to that clothing. And inversely, every sector of your body has a corresponding measurement. The most important measurements that you need to take on yourself to make sure your clothes fit are as follows. Your inseam, this is from the inner point of your groin down to your ankle. This is how you make sure that your pants always fit you properly, or fit you as close to properly as the certain brand can offer for whatever pant styles that they have. Your chest or bust, that's a measurement across. Your arm length from shoulder and from neckline. So when you take your, and I'll probably show this, but when you take your measurement of arm length, some brands measure from shoulder, some brands measure from neck, right? And you have to know what measurement they're taking, because if a brand measures from neck and you're used to the shoulder measurement, you're not gonna have the right, measurement for that top. And last, you want to measure your upper body length. So that's kind of from like this neck area down to your waist. Once you have your mom, your friend, your sibling, your neighbor, you need someone to help you measure it. You need someone to help you measure this to make this measurement as accurate as possible. Every measurement you take, write it down, put it in your notes app, put it in like a pinned note so that you can always remember, this is where my measurements are. This will help solve a majority of the does this fit properly question, does this look good on me kind of question, because you'll know, not based off of just optics. Optics will tell you whether or not something looks good or bad, but you'll know before you purchase something whether or not it fits. You can have something that fits nicely because you can just match the measurement of the clothing. Now, what if you get into a situation where you really love an item of clothing, but it doesn't fit you perfectly, or it's a little bit too big? This is where a tailor comes into the mix. And I don't know why more people don't understand the power of tailoring. I made a video about how to make sure your clothes always fit you perfectly, where I had a pair of pants that I tailored to my body, and it wasn't something that was an exorbitantly expensive thing. A tailor is a godsend when it comes to enhancing your style. All a tailor does is they take your measurements and then they match the measurements that they take of you, and then they create a pair of pants or a jacket or a sleeve length that matches the exact length, right? It's super simple. I had this done with the pants that I'm wearing here. These are my blue jeans. I wear these all the time. I've worn these many times over the years, but I couldn't wear them at first because they were far too big. I got them tailored and now they fit great. Number two, if you're worried about whether or not that what you're wearing is appropriate or fits the formality of a certain occasion, I have a rule of thumb for you that you can apply to most situations that will help you understand if you're in the right or if you're in the wrong. And that rule of thumb is nobody is going to punish you for being the best dressed in the room. One of the posts I saw from r/outfits asked about if an outfit is appropriate for coworkers at a non-like work themed event. Even though they're coworkers, you want to leave a good impression, but you're not at work, so you don't want to come off as a square, so you want to have, a good outfit for that. And the reason why I think that this outfit, when you read the comments, receives so much positive review from people saying that this is a good outfit to wear for your coworkers, is because it implemented, or the guy who was wearing this, he had a camp collar on, which is typically seen as a garment of clothing that sits in between formality and casual. So, it has casual feel. Sorry, it has a formal feel, but it can be worn in a more casual way. You're not wearing a camp collar with a suit. It's not a button down. It's not a proper Oxford shirt. But I think what really stood out to me about this outfit, and what about outfits in general, is that what kind of presence do you bring to your outfit? Do you have a clean shave, or do you have a properly trimmed beard? Do you have a nice haircut? Is your hair done? Are your nails done if you're a girl? Do you have makeup on that accentuates the features that you already possess? All of these little decisions help take whatever you're wearing and adds a little bit more presence to it, right? So the fact that this guy had a nice haircut, the fact that he had, a strong chin, like all of these things helped him. And if you don't have, maybe the physical gifts that other people have or possess, it doesn't mean that you can just lie on your back and say, well, I'll never be stylish. There are many people of varying sizes who look fantastic, and they do so as a result of caring about their appearance and their grooming, which is really big. Their grooming. If you're groomed well, most people will think that you care about your style, and you'll leave a good initial impression as long as you aren't wearing something like a poop shirt or a crazy meme shirt or something like that. Most people will still have a good impression of you. But the rule of thumb is dress to impress. Always go a notch or two above what's expected of you. Have yourself well groomed, and you'll always leave a great impression on people. You smile, you look them in the eye. If you're a guy, you shake their hand. If you're a girl, you give them a hug. Whatever it is, you say, my name is blah, blah, blah. You're off to the races. Now, if you wanted to add an extra oomph to his outfit, this is how I would do it. I would wear the same camp collar. I have a similar camp collar in my closet actually. I would add a jacket on top, get rid of the t-shirt underneath, and wear darker colors to drive in sophistication. For whatever reason, I think dark colors in most settings are gonna look more kind of grown up. They're gonna look more serious. And if you wanna go for something that feels more like taken care of, dark colors are the way to go. Nobody is gonna punish you for being the best dressed in the room. And if you're confident in what you're wearing, that's all you need. And speaking of confidence, this was a pretty big issue that I saw, or problem that I saw that a lot of people had when it comes to wearing clothes, getting dressed. If someone were to stop you on the street and ask you, what makes you confident? What would you say? The best dressed people are usually some of the most confident. And if you're not there yet, there's 3 things that you can do to inch your way closer to becoming a more confident individual. First, identify your strengths as a person. Maybe you're tall, maybe you have a nice skin complexion, maybe you have a good laugh, maybe the way your hair looks is a really cool color, maybe you have cool hair, maybe you have no hair. We all bring something unique to the table that we can play off of. Once you know your strengths, nail your measurements. That's like the golden rule. You have to nail your measurements. Nothing will feed your confidence like wearing clothes that actually fit you properly. Like right now, I'm wearing a shirt, right? And it sits exactly where I want it to on my wrist. Like when you get that item of clothing now, when you put it on and it fits exactly where you want it to fit, it feels really nice. At least it does for me. Like I'm getting a little bit of chills thinking about it right now, but it just does. When pants fit nice, you're like, damn, I look good in this, like finally. Next, and this one's like so tough for the majority of the population. We're talking, beyond even just fashion. We're talking about the negative thoughts that you tell yourself. What are the negative thoughts that you tell yourself? Identify those thoughts and then attempt to replace those thoughts with positive ones, so to give yourself a level of positive reinforcement. Now this is much easier said than done, as we all have moments of negativity. We have people who maybe have bullied us in the past, we have parents who maybe have said things, we have our own inner turmoil going on in our own head. But if you can find a way to replace the bad thoughts, the negative thoughts, with the good thoughts, and if you can do it systematically, one at a time. I like myself. I'm working on being a better version of myself. I believe that I can accomplish the things I want to accomplish. Whatever that is, then I think you can translate that positive energy, that confidence, into how you dress. As long as you have the principles, the baseline, the building blocks of what makes a good outfit. One of the things that I thought about, and I've talked about with my partner Lauren when we're talking about building confidence, is kind of just like taking account for all of the positive and the good things that you've accomplished, and just like maybe writing them down, right? Write down the things that you've been able to overcome. Maybe you're in a situation where someone else would have given up if they were in the same situation as you, or maybe you had a moment where you had a great interaction with a friend and you made them feel better, you gave them relationship advice, or maybe you were the first in a class for something, or maybe you were able to build something that you didn't think was able to build. It could be as simple as building Legos. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, whatever it is, take the wins and remind yourself that you have them and that you're not someone who is hopeless. You have hope. If you can flip the confidence switch on for your outfits, trust me, everything about how you get dressed will get better.
Let's get a word in for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Are you interested in making your very own website for a brand or creative project? Squarespace offers a comprehensive amount of features to help you create the website that you've always wanted. If you want to sell your products direct to consumer, or if you want to showcase your body of work, Squarespace makes it easy to do that and more. Currently, I'm using my Squarespace website as a hub for all of my content and as a way to direct those interested to my podcast and social media. If you need a design to help nudge you into creating your first website, this is your sign. Visit squarespace.com/DrewJoyner for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
The last fear that I want to touch on really quick is that there was a lot of people who were worried about dressing too young or too old for their age. Let's be real. Most people were worried about, if they're getting older, they're worried about dressing too young. I think that just because you're 18 or 28 or 48 or 78, it doesn't mean that you have to dress in any type of way. Some of the most stylish people in entertainment or in just day-to-day life are stylish because they bump the norms of what society expects, or I don't even know if society really expects certain people to dress a certain way, but they bump the inner dialogue that they've heard that either comes from themselves or their peers about how they should look, and they go with what makes them happy and what makes them feel alive and confident. If you can do that, your style will improve. Trust me, it'll improve. I know I pulled from some pretty old posts on some of these subreddit pages, but I would love to hear from some of the people who I featured their outfits. I'm telling you, nail the measurements and that will save you so much pain. If you like what we have going on here on the channel, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me to see your face or your comment or your emoji. People still send emojis. Your emoji down in the comments. We post 2 to 4 times a month. And as always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2025. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and to everyone who's alive, wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good post-vid, man? Hopefully you're having a good day today. This is like as close as I've ever been to the camera in my entire life, and I like it. Up close and personal, PVV. Here are the fist bumps for the one time. Bop. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Here's the second one. Bop. Thank you so much. PVV, let me know. Do you use Reddit? And if you do use Reddit, what Reddit sub pages are you on the most? I use Reddit from time to time, not gonna lie, but I don't really know what pages I should be I don't really know what pages I should be subscribed, joined, following. Let me know. #PVV when you answer. Peace.